There's a moment, quiet, invisible, yet deafening, when she feels it. Not because you said anything, but because you stopped saying something. The energy shifts in ways words never could. Your messages become shorter, your calls less frequent. Your laughter, once alive and effortless, turns polite, distant, hollow. And she knows. She always knows. Because women don't just hear your words, they feel your silence. They sense the temperature of a connection long before it freezes. She feels the space where your warmth used to live. The way "I miss you" starts sounding more like a reflex than a heartbeat. And that's when something inside her switches. Not immediately, not dramatically, but slowly, painfully, like a candle realizing it's burning for no one. She begins to detach, not out of anger, but out of self-preservation. Once her mind makes that switch, she stops chasing your attention and starts reclaiming her peace. You've seen it before. At first, she's the one who texts you good morning, eager, glowing, believing this connection meant something. She sends little pieces of herself throughout the day, a meme, a photo, a message that says, "I'm thinking of you." But lately, you don't respond the same way. Sometimes hours pass, sometimes days, and she tells herself, he's just busy, he's tired, he'll come around. But deep down, she feels it. The distance growing like frost between two hearts that used to be warm. She rereads old messages, searching for clues of when you started slipping away. She types and deletes, types again, then deletes again, because now even her words feel too heavy to send. And one night, after waiting for your reply that never comes, she simply stops. She places her phone face down, exhales a truth she's been avoiding, and whispers, "Enough." That whisper isn't anger, it's awakening, the soft sound of her heart realizing it deserves better. Most people misunderstand this moment. They assume when a woman senses disinterest, she becomes emotional, needy, reactive, dramatic. But in reality, something deeper happens. Her emotions step back and her psychology steps forward. Her mind begins to protect what her heart can no longer handle. It's not a breakdown. It's a recalibration, a quiet evolution inside her soul. She moves from reaction to reflection, from chasing validation to studying patterns. Because when love starts feeling one-sided, her instincts don't just feel the pain, they start decoding it. At first, she was reaching out, trying to fix what was breaking, but when she senses your indifference, she flips from pursuing to perceiving. Psychologists call this emotional recalibration. The brain, in its wisdom, begins to adjust expectations to minimize future pain. So she stops fighting for your attention and starts watching your behavior with new eyes. Every text you don't send becomes data. Every cold response becomes proof. She stops asking why and starts noticing how. And here's where everything changes. That's when you begin to notice her silence. The woman who once filled every quiet space with affection suddenly stops trying, and the absence of her effort feels louder than her words ever did. Don't mistake that silence for weakness. Silence, for her, is strength wearing calmness as armor. In the beginning, she gave you grace. She made excuses for you because that's what empathy does. It tries to understand even when it hurts. But empathy has limits, and when it's drained, something powerful emerges, what psychologists call cognitive reappraisal. It's when the heart steps aside and the mind steps in. She stops romanticizing red flags and starts naming them. She stops asking, "Why is he like this?" and begins asking, "Why am I allowing this?" That's when clarity replaces confusion. That's her mind taking back control from her emotions. Once a woman begins seeing you logically, she no longer idealizes you emotionally. The illusion fades, the pedestal disappears, and what's left is the truth, raw, unfiltered, and often disappointing. Then comes the quietest phase. Outwardly, nothing seems different. She still shows up. She still smiles. She might still text you back. But inside, she's already packing her emotional bags. Psychologists call this emotional decoupling, the process where the heart begins to detach before the body ever walks away. It's subtle at first. Her laughter doesn't sound the same. Her eyes stop lighting up at your name. She's rehearsing her absence in real time, testing her strength to see if she can live without your presence. And the day she realizes she can, the breakup has already happened. You just haven't heard it yet. Then comes the stillness, that deceptive calm. The arguments stop, the explanations end. You might even think things are fine because she's not complaining anymore, but that's not peace, it's resignation. It's what psychologists describe as learned emotional helplessness. After enough times being unheard, the mind stops trying to explain. She's no longer fighting for change, she's accepting the reality. She's not giving up on you, she's giving up on convincing you. That's the difference between surrender and survival, and that's far more final than any goodbye. When she no longer fights, it's not calm, it's closure disguised as quiet. And then, the transformation begins. Slowly, she starts doing the very thing you thought she'd never do. She chooses herself. She begins sleeping better, eating better, thinking clearer. She starts journaling, exercising, going silent on social media, not to get your attention, but to regain her alignment. Psychologists call this self-realignment, when emotional energy once spent on others returns home. Her world starts expanding again. Her laughter becomes genuine, her presence grounded. She glows differently, not because she wants to prove anything, but because peace always looks more attractive than pain. Her glow-up isn't revenge, it's recovery. It's her way of saying, I found myself again. And then comes the final shift, the one no one sees coming. She no longer reacts, she no longer hopes, she no longer wonders what you're doing or who you're texting. You become neutral, not hated, not missed, just irrelevant. That neutrality is what psychologists call effective detachment. It's the death of emotional dependency and the birth of freedom. It's not coldness, it's healing. When a woman no longer needs closure, she becomes her own closure. That's the ultimate liberation, when your presence or absence no longer dictates her peace. You don't lose her when she walks away. You lose her the moment she stops caring. So if you're that woman, the one sitting in silence, feeling unseen, questioning your worth, listen closely. You were never too emotional. You were never too much. You simply cared in a world that glorifies indifference. Your empathy isn't a weakness. It's your superpower. The same heart that breaks deeply also heals beautifully. You're not defined by who stopped choosing you. You're defined by how you rise when they don't. When they stop texting, you start growing. When they pull away, you stand taller. When they fall silent, you speak louder in your own life. Their disinterest doesn't mean you're unworthy. It means they were never equipped to handle the depth of your love. Sometimes rejection is simply redirection. The universe moving you away from what could never love you the way you deserve. You don't need to chase closure from people who were never emotionally open. You don't need to beg for love that should have been freely given. You don't need to prove your worth to someone who forgot to see it. Because real love doesn't make you question your value. It reminds you of it. You're not hard to love. You were just loving in the wrong direction. So stop shrinking to fit inside someone else's comfort. Start expanding into your own light. When she feels you've lost interest, she stops chasing and starts observing. Her empathy turns into emotional logic. She detaches before she leaves. She stops arguing because she's done explaining her worth. She redirects her energy inward. And eventually she outgrows you. Each shift is not revenge, it's rebirth. It's the psychology of healing disguised as indifference. So if she's walking away now, let her. Because what you're witnessing isn't her becoming cold, it's her becoming whole. And if you're the one healing, remember this. When she stops waiting for your attention, she finally meets herself. And that's the kind of love she's been needing all along. If these words touch something inside you, don't keep them to yourself. Someone out there needs to hear them too. So like, share, and subscribe, because every week we explore the psychology of love, loss, and healing. Thank you for being here. Stay strong, stay self-aware, and never forget your worth.